I want to get back to the basics, because when I look at the world around us and our political landscape and everything that is going on, and all those who claim to be Christians, I am realizing something. I'm realizing that there aren't very many people who actually know who God is and what God is about. So many people simply claim to have the truth. But when you look at their lives, you'll know that that is furthest from the truth. So, what are these basics? These basics might be different from what you were taught if you grew up in the church. I want to bring you to a passage that we are so familiar with in Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 to 31. God says, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." And in verse 27, it says, "God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them." But there is a verse here in verse 31 that we gloss over so very quickly. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. The very fascinating thing about this verse is that on each of the days when God creates, he says, it was good. But after the sixth day, when God created humankind, God says it was very good. God made humankind in God's own image and said it was very good. This isn't something simply to gloss over. It is our original image. It is our innate reality. It is our ultimate reality before anything else entered the picture. We come from God. We are very good, and we return to God. This is ultimate reality. We are not beings who come from God and then are apart from God forever unless XYZ takes place. Think about our kids. If your kids stray from you, make mistakes, or do things apart from your will, that doesn't mean they must now be away from us forever. It doesn't keep us holy to keep them away, no matter how right we are. Our kids, no matter how many mistakes they make, will always have a place with us. This means that everything we believe to be something that separates us from God is actually a false reality. This is the separateness that the deceiver tries to get us to believe. We feel shame. We feel like we need to cover ourselves from God with branches and leaves, just like Adam and Eve did. We feel like we are apart from God. We feel this. We believe this. But this is the false reality. The moment we recognize our true and ultimate reality, we live in the truth. The moment we believe the false reality, we live in the lie. The false reality tells us we are not good enough. The false reality tells us we are depraved. The false reality tells us we deserve punishment, torture, and even eternal suffering. The false reality tells us we can't, we don't deserve, and that we are innately and ultimately evil. And this is the point where Jesus is supposed to be the hope in the midst of all that, the one who makes us righteous. But this is where we are wrong because we got the beginning wrong. Jesus is not bringing us out of depravity. Jesus is reminding us of who we are and who we always have been. In Jesus, we begin to see ourselves, our whole selves, our very good selves, ourselves with potential, compassion, power, and love. In Jesus, we see hope and a new path forward, a new way to see ourselves, others, and the world around us. Our eyes are opened and unveiled to see who we are. We remember, we return, we repent. Repent means to return, to turn around. But turn around to what? We are to turn around and return to our true reality, our true image. We are image bearers of God. We were made very good. We come from God and we return to God. we have simply lost our way. We have believed the lie that we are not good. But that is an insult to God. What parent wants to hear their child self-deprecate, calling themselves unworthy because they can't do something as well as we can? This is absolute heartbreaking absurdity. And to believe the lie that the God who is love, who made us in God's image, would want to hear us say such heartbreaking utterances. To believe the lie that we are somehow so innately evil that there is no way we can come to God except to believe in a specific set of doctrines. Our false reality has created religion to appease the sense of confusion and guilt we carry. Jesus came to dispel the lie, the confusion, and to show us with his own life, death, and resurrection what it means for us to live in our full humanity, to return to ourselves, to return to love, our true ultimate reality. This verse should not be glossed over. It represents the difference between two different theologies, two different gods, and two different endings. The implications are tremendous. It's the difference between a God who punishes us for all of eternity if we don't believe a specific doctrine, and a God who wants to heal us, to help find us. It's the difference between seeing ourselves as depraved and seeing everyone around us as depraved, versus seeing the image of God in everyone, seeing inherent dignity, value, and worth. Any teacher who teaches innate depravity speaks falsehoods. Yes, there is depravity. Yes, there is sin. Yes, there is evil. But it is penultimate reality. It is temporary. It is a falsehood. It is not our ultimate reality. Just because it exists does not make it our ultimate true reality. I can't emphasize this enough. Like a surgeon performing surgery on someone, the disease is not the person's reality. The surgeon cannot believe otherwise. The surgeon must know the person's health as their ultimate state in order to appropriately diagnose and remove the disease. We need to have this framework shift. This is a reframing of how we view ourselves, the world around us, and how we ultimately view God. The implications go beyond what we may realize. What kind of impact do you think the belief in a God who views us as wretched and unworthy of approaching his holiness has on our physical and mental well-being? What kind of view are we passing on to our children? Our starting point matters, and our starting point is not depravity. Our starting point is good. Our starting point is God. We come from God. We are made in God's image, and we are called to return, repent, and remember our truest reality. We are God's. Nothing, no amount of sin, bad deeds, or depravity can separate us from that truthiest truth. We may be blind for a while, living in the false reality, not realizing our true state, but that doesn't make it any less true. One day we will all remember. We will remember once this earthly life is over. But how wonderful would it be if we could remember now, while we are still here alive on this earth, and discover how we are meant to truly live.